So abusuya after say court no o change Wontumi final judgment no na 3rd July mo ye aware ye de 20th July abusuya na endrada chairman Wontumi ne lawyer no kokopie mu court no a order chairman Wontumi say say July 13th chairman Wontumi ne new lawyer your friend Samuel Atachia no say on file and as on submit ne written submission efamra court now that chairman Wontumi ne new lawyer no say by July 13th no are filing a written submission na say or the abrel court na say July 20th yeah they Wontumi judgment no aba abonten na sa written submission no lawyer Martin Pebu edin sembi aba betudwa edi afa ho a say abusuya 20th July judgment no abusuya ebe brutal 20th July nyoma ebisisi wo court no enya nyoma keto lawyer Martin Pebu ede ho nsem aba betudwa after say court no ama chairman Wontumi ne lawyers ultimatum say by July 30th no ma file or written submission no abusuya mama yanko na yanko ti lawyer Martin Pebu ne nsema or the two na answer na be call Ghana say open computer papa and a laptop papa na we use the abura periodic computers and accessories ho and na obenya laptop papa and computer papa e de free ni location enya ira kwan owo Kumasi Buokrom Estate Eli free number ya egu ye screen so 0247030108 and I say 0597942133 periodic computers and accessories ho and na obenya laptop papa na we use medamase.
The application for the extension of time by the lawyers of Chairman Wontumi that has been granted. The request to defer judgment in the Samurai Boy case. The new date is July 20. Now, if you recall, last week we had indicated to you that the date for the High Court had indicated that July 3, which was this Friday, was the day that they would deliver judgment on the case of the Samurai Boy illegal mining case against Chairman Wontumi. Well, he changed his lawyers, as we do know. Samuel Atachia is lead counsel now. He later applied to defer judgment because he had just taken over the case and wanted some time to study or what had happened. Well, earlier today, that request or application was granted, and the defense lawyers have been giving up to 13th of July to file their submission. Samuel Atachia speaking to journalists after the court's decision earlier today. Take a look.
Well, we wanted the judge to defer the judgment, which was initially slated for the 3rd of July. And on the basis that I've come in, I need to fetch the entire array of documents before the court, study them critically, and then write a credible address to show that an accused person is entitled to a lawyer. And the climax of this whole matter is that a lawyer should put together the summation of the case and show that his client is innocent and that the prosecution has not proven the case beyond reasonable doubt. I think the judge saw eye to eye with us. Give us 2 weeks to put together the written address, and then on the 20th she might hand down the decision. So we are going to study the record of proceedings religiously, and if there are any things that we have to do, we'll do it right before we come back to filing the process. So we have been given some space to work, and we'll do our best.
Thank you. Please, can you
Well, that was Chairman Wontumi there, kissing the floor, literally. And also his lawyer speaking to journalists after that court decision. July 20 now is the date to watch now not July 3. But let's go on to Zoom now. And Martin Pebo is private legal practitioner. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us. First of all, I want to find out from you if you were surprised by the state's opposition to the request for adjournment of this particular judgment on the Samuel Boy case by Chairman Wontumi's lawyers.
I wasn't surprised. Like I've said before, I wasn't surprised because, you see, the context is that Wontumi and his people, the MPP, had been trolling AG that Ora is dead. Ora is dead. Ora Yamutu. Ora Yamutu. Ora Ogbo. If my gun would permit me. In various languages, you hear it. And various things. So, with that, it was normal for the AG to oppose the request for adjournment because you can't shy away from the fact that there is high suspicion that the change of lawyers from Apia Kubi to Senior Tachia was a ploy to delay the case. So with that cloud of heavy suspicion around the change in lawyers, I mean, it was to be expected that the AG would oppose the request for extension. It's just that from our convention, the practice, once the lawyer is new, at least, even if no matter how small, the judge was bound to give an adjournment. Otherwise, it would create a lot of, what do you call it, trouble. I mean, in terms of increasing the political temperature. And natural fact, the refusal of the adjournment would rather have taken center stage, and the merits of the case would have been thrown away because then it would have gone into a perception of witch hunt, etc. So the judge's decision to grant the adjournment is a master stroke, although I also see that it doesn't fully satisfy what Atachian was looking for. That maybe he can manage with this. I don't know. But I heard at a point he was saying he needed 6 weeks. But I mean, if this is what he got from the court,
yeah.
Let's see how he's able to work within that period.
Well, so you're right. That 6 weeks request was not granted, as far as we know, and it's just about technically what we're seeing now, maybe some 17 days, because between July 3rd and 20th. But let's focus on the decision now, and based on how things played out in court today. Would you say this was a fair conclusion? And how crucial will this be with respect to the written submissions that already we've been told that the defense lawyers would have up until 13th of July, which is some 10 days away from the original date of the judgment, to also file their written submissions ahead of the 20th of July, which is now the new judgment day for Chairman Wontumi in this Samuel Boy case?
It's extremely important for the accused to have his lawyer also contribute to the decision making, because not just saying contribute is an understatement. In actual fact, that the accused is given the last opportunity to, try to persuade the judge that he, the accused, is not guilty. So it's excruciatingly important, extremely important that the lawyer is given an opportunity, because you don't know, sometimes just one line in the written submissions, or call it the address, that could draw the judge's attention to something that had been overlooked all the while, right? Other times, even if there isn't anything new, at least it would then have satisfied the procedural fairness, that in terms of procedure, in terms of the optics, at least. As I mentioned, if the judge hadn't given this adjournment and had insisted on giving judgment on July 6th, I say July 6th because, originally it was later for July 3rd, but 3rd Friday is a holiday. So, as I mentioned, though the judge can sit on the 3rd, like we keep saying, because of the political tension, the judge will not sit on the 3rd. The judge would rather have sat on it on the 6th, most likely. So, looking at it, if the judge hadn't granted this adjournment, no. The judgment would have suffered a lot of legitimacy deficit. Yes, because they would have kept saying, no, it's a witch hunt. Ghana is not coming to an end. So why was the judge rushing, etc.? You remember in October 2024, you remember the Afenyo marking case? One of the cases that is suspected to be the reasons behind the removal of Justice Tokonu. That I say suspicion because on the face of it, that was one of the formal reasons tabled. But a lot of analysts think the way Justice Tokonu was too much in a hurry, that contributed to a removal. So in the same way, if this judge had gone ahead to insist and deliver judgment on 6th July, it would have suffered the same fate. This time from the MPP, they would have made a lot of noise. Why are you rushing? Why are you rushing? This. So the judge is done well by granting the adjournment. It helps to save our democracy unnecessary tension.
And you earlier indicated that from what you said, this change of the lawyers by Chairman Wontumi, from what you said, was a delay tactic. And in fact, that's why the trial judge was saying that regardless of the change in his legal representation, she was going to go ahead with that July 3 judgment day. Well, that didn't happen. Do you foresee any other tactics coming up again? Another application to delay this judgment again? As you know, some of you lawyers do. You're very specialized in knowing how to delay cases.
The most likely one is what lawyers will call motion for arrest of judgment. So before the judge grants judgment, most often the morning, maybe 30 minutes before the trial, then the lawyer finishes filing a motion to arrest the judgment. And from the way we say to arrest means physically restrain the judge from delivering the judgment for various reasons. Though a lot of the time that application will not succeed, what it does is that it often gets or it practically leads to an adjournment, which is what is often sought. I mean, a lot of criminal trials, you want more time, hoping to delay and delay. So that's the most likely candidate for that can be used. When I say it, or two, the most likely two that can be used. But Atachian has already given his word that he's not in the business of delaying. Last Friday, he mentioned that he needed 6 weeks. I would have said grant him, provided the 6 weeks will be counted into August, so that even though the court is on vacation, the judge will come and deliver judgment in August. Then there won't be reasons about rushing Atachian. Yeah, but now that he didn't get all that he wanted, trust me, when the judgment comes, that's where they will start from.
Counsel, appreciate you for this. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And hello? Sorry, we lost Martin Pebble there, but I think that the point is made quite clearly. Martin Pebble is private legal practitioner. Thank you for joining us with your thoughts on the latest development regarding Chairman Wontumi. Now back to the big issue for today, and that's the floods.
It's another day of disaster. Accra is flooded. Hours of heavy rainfall left several parts of the capital saturated, forcing gutters, drains and other water channels to overflow, submerging communities and disrupting lives. Several areas have come underwater. Communities that had not experienced flooding for more than 2 decades were hit, with Addo emerging as one of the worst affected areas. The last time the community witnessed a flood of this magnitude was in 1997 under the late Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. The situation improved after former President John Addo Kufuor constructed the Addo drain stretching from Achimota to Accra. But after more than 2 decades, Addo is back in the news, this time facing one of its worst flooding disasters. Homes, mechanic shops, retail outlets, churches and hospitality facilities were flooded, leaving several residents trapped on rooftops and vehicles. Properties were destroyed while several vehicles were submerged. Residents who responded to early warning signs moved to higher grounds. However, 2 fatalities were recorded. Communal rescue teams moved in, wading through the floodwaters to rescue residents and move them to safety. Some residents were left shocked by the scale of destruction.
if you want to be my singer, and then we are saying about the beside time. I having power. In the Padilla, if you are saying power,
because amount for Japadia, normally be stores be in a actual amount for. Yes, let's say a banyo who give Emma.
The impact extended to car price, where hotels, homes, chapels, and motorcycle shops were flooded. Here, the 4-lane dual carriage road was completely submerged, bringing vehicular movement to a halt. Commuters who were stranded midway through their journeys abandoned vehicles and continued on foot. But due to the strong currents, communal rescue teams had to intervene. More than 200 people were rescued. Several homes in Aveno were also flooded, leaving hundreds displaced. The situation remains severe. Later, personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service and NADMO joined the communal rescue teams to support the evacuation efforts. At the Kwame Nkrumah Circle Enclave, traders, motorists, and shop owners counted their losses as the area was also affected. The pedestrian shopping mall area stretching to the Donna Market was submerged following the overflow of the Addo River. While residents battled the flood situation, fire also swept through shops containing rubber products at the Donna Market. For hours, the fire spread to other parts of the market as firefighters struggled to access the area due to the floodwaters. The Ghana Meteorological Agency has warned of more rainfall this year, but many residents have blamed the flooding on human activities and are calling on authorities to take urgent steps to address drainage challenges. As Accra counts the cost of the...
Well, what you just saw there is from Alajo, the impact there, and then also the Kwame Nkrumah interchange, the vehicle station there. And that's all of those places have been submerged under the flood waters. And vehicles, we understand, according to some transport operators or transport unions, some stations, that's vehicle stations that we know, a number of you will tomorrow be going to get vehicles to your various destinations, maybe without the adequate number of vehicles to transport people. For instance, the Odona, where we just showed you, we're going to show you the Odona transport, the vehicle station at Odona, where the floods affected a number of the vehicles there. We understand 80% of the vehicles at Odona may not be available for tomorrow. That's what you see there. A number of the vehicles affected by the floods earlier today, 80% may not be available. We also understand that Malam, for instance, will have 90% of the vehicles at the Malam station will not be available because of the floods that affected them. Also, Kaneshi, 40% of the vehicles may not be available for commuters. So that's how troubling this particular situation is as we speak, and it's not looking good at all. And thankfully, we have joining us in the studio and also on Zoom to have a conversation on this development. Dr. Ignatius Kweku Williams is Deputy Director General Operations at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Also, Alhaj Mohammed, Engineer Mohammed Abdullahi is also joining us. He is an engineer. Also joining us in the studio is Addo 2 Alex Kinate, Addo 1 Alex Kinate. He is with the Ghana National Fire Service Public Relations Department. This gentleman, good evening. Thank you for joining us. First off, let me welcome those on Zoom. Engineer Abdullahi, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Ignatius Kweku Williams, Deputy Director General Operations, Ghana Meteorological Agency. Thank you for joining us. If you could unmute for me. Alex Nate, appreciate you. Now, you're coming from, you're geared up, I can see, coming from the disaster sites. Just give us an overview of the situation that you have had to deal with since morning.
Well, it's been a very busy day for firefighters everywhere. Beyond firefighting, our job transcends to rescue. And so today we've had Our job as our role has been really tested. Where we've seen fires, we've seen rescue. As I speak to you right now, there's a building collapse at Tabora around the
building
Gulf
has collapsed at Tabora.
Exactly. At the
as
Gulf
we speak.
Exactly. So
And
our personnel
when did you
are
get
there.
this distress call?
We got the call around 30 minutes ago.
30 minutes
So
ago.
we dispatched our rescue team from our headquarters to the scene, and so they are currently there trying their best to help rescue people from the rubbles.
And a building at Tabora has just collapsed.
Yes.
I see. And we'll keep tabs on that, and I'm sure we'll also dispatch our colleagues to follow you. To
And we've had a lot of rescue activities. I would say that the total number of people we've rescued today will be in the excess of about over 150 people.
About 150 people rescued today?
Yes.
In which specific areas?
So we had...
Alright, I was saying, and some of course, so our political highway, so a year, lawyer Martin Pebu, and I attend Wontumi, a year. The final judgment here about Bontin on the 3rd July, court no am an ultimatum say on fan file a year written submission and as an address on 13th July. Lawyer Martin Pebu, credit goes to a year TV3 and I PK fates, and free. But I'm also some Japan the cocoa and some way my gossip politics TV so.